Warning: His video contains details of real crime cases. Watch with caution. If you're a fan of true crime investigations and want to follow more stories like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any case. In the picturesque town of Pinecrest, nestled in the heart of Colorado's Rocky Mountains, the Holloway family seemed to embody the American dream. Evelyn Holloway, born on April 11, 1971, to Judith and Gregory Blackwell, grew up alongside her brothers, Michael and Christopher, in a loving household that valued education and community service. Those who knew Evelyn described her as an extraordinary individual, intellectually curious, compassionate, and always ready with a kind word or helping hand. Her high school years were marked by academic excellence and a budding romance with Caleb Holloway, a charismatic baseball player with dreams of making it to the big leagues. Their love story blossomed over 6 years, culminating in a fairy tale wedding in 1998. While Caleb pursued his athletic aspirations with the Denver Mavericks, Evelyn carved out her own path in education, earning a degree from Centennial State University. The couple seemed destined for greatness, their futures as bright as the Colorado sun. However, fate had other plans. Caleb's promising career was cut short by a devastating shoulder injury, forcing him to pivot to a new profession in landscaping. Meanwhile, Evelyn threw herself into teaching, quickly becoming a beloved figure at Pinecrest High School. The Holloway's family grew with the arrival of their daughters, Hazel and Ivy. From the outside, their life in suburban Denver appeared idyllic: weekend barbecues, family vacations, and a tight-knit community of friends and neighbors. Yet, beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to form in the foundation of their seemingly perfect world. Evelyn's battle with Hodgkin's lymphoma in her early 40s sent shockwaves through the family. Twice she faced the disease head-on, emerging victorious but forever changed by the experience. The ordeal sparked a desire for change, a chance to start anew. In 2018, the Holloways made the decision to relocate to the small mountain town of Evergreen, seeking a simpler life closer to nature and to Hazel, who was attending Western Peaks University. Caleb embraced the move, finding work as a contractor and volunteering with the local fire department. The vast 7-acre property they purchased offered ample space for his hunting trips and landscaping projects. Evelyn, having taken early retirement from teaching, threw herself into community activities, becoming an active member of the local church and discovering a newfound passion for mountain biking. The rugged trails surrounding Evergreen provided the perfect backdrop for her new hobby, offering both challenges and breathtaking vistas. To their friends and neighbors in Evergreen, the Holloways appeared to be living out their own version of the American dream: a successful relocation, a beautiful home, and a fresh start in a close-knit mountain community. Evelyn's social media posts painted a picture of contentment, showcasing stunning mountain views and heartwarming family moments. Yet, as the events of May 10, 2020, would soon reveal, appearances can be deceiving. The tranquil facade of the Holloway family's life in Evergreen concealed turbulent undercurrents that were about to break the surface, forever altering the lives of all involved and capturing the attention of a nation. As the sun rose on that fateful Mother's Day morning, none could have predicted the chain of events that would transform this quiet mountain town into the epicenter of one of the most baffling criminal investigations in recent memory. The disappearance of Evelyn Holloway would soon expose the fragile nature of the American dream and the dark secrets that can lurk behind even the most picture-perfect facades. The morning of May 10, 2020, dawned crisp and clear in Evergreen, Colorado. The Holloway residence, usually bustling with activity on Mother's Day, stood eerily quiet. Evelyn Holloway found herself alone, an unusual circumstance for this family-oriented celebration. Her husband, Caleb, had departed early, citing a work consultation in Silverdale, a 3-hour drive away. Their daughters, Hazel and Ivy, were absent too, having embarked on a camping trip with friends. The family's plan was to reconvene that evening, showering Evelyn with belated Mother's Day affection. Little did they know, this reunion would never come to pass. As the day progressed, an unsettling silence descended upon the Holloway property. The vibrant social media presence Evelyn typically maintained fell uncharacteristically dormant. By nightfall, this digital quietude had morphed from a mere oddity into a source of genuine concern for her daughters. Hazel and Ivy, unable to reach their mother via phone or text, felt a growing unease. Their messages of love and Mother's Day wishes went unanswered, a stark departure from Evelyn's usual prompt and affectionate responses. Worry gnawing at their hearts, the sisters reached out to a neighbor, Eleanor Parker, beseeching her to check on their mother. Around 4 p.m., Eleanor arrived at the Holloway residence. The house stood silent, showing no signs of life or disturbance. Puzzled and increasingly concerned, Eleanor contacted Caleb. His response was oddly specific. He suggested she check for Evelyn's bicycle. If it was missing, he advised, it would be prudent to alert the authorities. Eleanor's search revealed the bicycle's absence, prompting her to follow Caleb's advice and contact local law enforcement. Within the hour, Evergreen Police Department officers arrived at the scene, initiating what would soon evolve into a complex and perplexing investigation. As news of Evelyn's disappearance spread, Caleb and his daughters rushed back to Evergreen, their minds racing with scenarios ranging from hopeful to horrific. The family's anguish was palpable as they arrived home to find their property transformed into a hive of police activity. The first breakthrough in the case came several hours into the search. In a steep ravine not far from the Holloway home, officers discovered Evelyn's mountain bike. The scene, however, raised more questions than it answered. The bike bore no signs of damage or struggle, and the surrounding vegetation remained undisturbed. To the trained eyes of the investigators, it appeared as though the bicycle had been carefully placed rather than crash-landed. This discovery marked a turning point in the investigation. What had begun as a missing person case now took on a more sinister aspect. The careful positioning of the bike suggested human intervention, hinting at a scenario far more complex than a simple cycling accident. Caleb's reaction to this find struck the officers as peculiar. Instead of the relief or heightened concern one might expect, he offered a bizarre theory involving a mountain lion attack. This would be the first of many unconvincing explanations he would provide to investigators in the days to come, each one seeming to raise more red flags than the last. As night fell on that fateful Mother's Day, the serene mountain community of Evergreen found itself at the center of a burgeoning mystery. The disappearance of Evelyn Holloway, a beloved mother and community member, had shattered the town's tranquil facade. Little did they know, this was only the beginning of a case that would captivate the nation, expose hidden truths, and challenge everything they thought they knew about their picturesque mountain haven. As the investigation into Evelyn Holloway's disappearance intensified, a complex web of evidence began to emerge, casting long shadows of suspicion across the once idyllic mountain community of Evergreen. Each new revelation seemed to raise more questions than answers, turning what initially appeared to be a straightforward missing person case into a labyrinthine mystery that would captivate the nation. The discovery of Evelyn's helmet, found a mile from the Holloway residence, marked a significant turning point in the investigation. Its location aligned eerily with the telematics data from Caleb's truck, which indicated he had traveled in that direction on the morning of Evelyn's disappearance. This coincidence did not escape the notice of the investigators, who found themselves increasingly skeptical of Caleb's inconsistent accounts of his whereabouts and actions on that fateful day. As detectives delved deeper into the Holloway's personal lives, they uncovered a marriage far more turbulent than the picture-perfect image the couple had cultivated. Hidden beneath the veneer of social media posts and community engagement lay a relationship fraught with tension and fear. Evelyn's cell phone, recovered during the investigation, revealed a cache of messages and notes expressing her deep unhappiness and, more alarmingly, her fear of Caleb. Perhaps the most startling discovery was a spy pin found among Evelyn's possessions. This seemingly innocuous device, capable of recording audio and video, spoke volumes about the state of trust within the Holloway marriage. Investigators learned that Evelyn had purchased the pin to monitor her husband's behavior, a revelation that painted a picture of a woman living in a state of constant vigilance and suspicion. The contents of the spy pin's recordings led to another shocking revelation. Evelyn had been involved in an extramarital affair. While this discovery initially widened the pool of suspects, police were able to quickly clear Evelyn's lover of any involvement in her disappearance. However, the affair added another layer of complexity to the case, raising questions about whether Caleb had discovered his wife's infidelity and if this knowledge could have been the catalyst for a violent confrontation. As the investigation progressed, Caleb's behavior continued to raise red flags. His explanations for his actions on the day of Evelyn's disappearance grew increasingly convoluted and implausible. He offered a series of alternative theories, each more far-fetched than the last, in what appeared to be desperate attempts to deflect suspicion away from himself. The community of Evergreen, once united in their concern for Evelyn, found itself divided. Some steadfastly believed in Caleb's innocence, pointing to his years of community service and his apparent devotion to his family. Others, however, began to view their neighbor with growing suspicion, re-examining past interactions through the lens of these new revelations. Meanwhile, the Holloway daughters, Hazel and Ivy, found themselves caught in an emotional maelstrom, struggling to reconcile the loving father they knew with the suspect the police were portraying. They grappled with feelings of loyalty, doubt, and grief. Their pain was palpable, a stark reminder of the human cost at the heart of this unfolding drama. As weeks turned into months, the case of Evelyn Holloway continued to baffle investigators and captivate the public. Each new piece of evidence seemed to contradict the last, creating a puzzle that defied easy solutions. The once peaceful mountain town of Evergreen had become the epicenter of a mystery that would challenge assumptions about trust, appearances, and the secrets that can lurk behind closed doors in even the most seemingly perfect families. Just as the investigation seemed to be narrowing its focus on Caleb Holloway, a startling discovery shook the foundations of the case, introducing a new and chilling dimension to the mystery of Evelyn's disappearance. In a breakthrough that sent shockwaves through the investigative team, forensic analysts uncovered partial DNA evidence on Evelyn's Range Rover and her recovered bicycle helmet. The DNA profile, while incomplete, did not match Caleb's genetic markers. This revelation, which initially seemed to exonerate the prime suspect, instead opened a Pandora's box of new questions and theories. The true bombshell came when the partial DNA profile was run through national criminal databases. The results linked the genetic material to 3 unsolved sexual assault cases spanning 2 states, Illinois and Arizona. This connection transformed the Holloway case from a potential domestic homicide to something far more sinister, the work of a possible serial offender who had managed to evade justice across state lines. This new evidence cast the investigation in an entirely different light. The quiet mountain town of Evergreen, which had been grappling with the idea that evil might lurk within their tight-knit community, now faced the terrifying prospect that an unknown predator had invaded their peaceful enclave. The revelation sparked a flurry of activity among law enforcement agencies. Multi-state task forces were hastily assembled, bringing together detectives from Colorado, Illinois, and Arizona. They began the painstaking process of combing through cold cases, searching for any additional links or patterns that might help identify the mysterious assailant. For the Holloway family, this development brought a mixed wave of emotions. While it seemed to lift the cloud of suspicion from Caleb, it also dashed any lingering hopes that Evelyn might still be alive. The possibility that she had fallen victim to a serial offender painted a grim picture of her fate. The community of Evergreen found itself thrust into the national spotlight once again. Media outlets descended upon the town, their presence a constant reminder of the unresolved tragedy. Residents grappled with a new kind of fear, eyeing strangers with suspicion and implementing additional security measures in their homes. As the investigation expanded, so did the theories surrounding Evelyn's disappearance. Some speculated that Caleb might have inadvertently crossed paths with the serial offender, possibly even hiring him as a contractor for one of his landscaping projects. Others wondered if Evelyn's solo bike rides had made her an easy target for a predator lurking in the wilderness. The task force faced numerous challenges. The significant time gap between the assaults in Illinois and Arizona and Evelyn's disappearance in Colorado made traditional investigative techniques like witness interviews and surveillance footage analysis nearly impossible. They turned to advanced forensic techniques, hoping that evolving DNA technology might yield more complete genetic profiles from the available evidence. Amidst this flurry of activity, Caleb Holloway found himself in a precarious position. While the new evidence seemed to support his claims of innocence, years of suspicion had taken their toll on his reputation and relationships. Many in the community, and even some members of his own family, still harbored doubts about his involvement. As the case took this unexpected turn, the nation watched with bated breath. The story of Evelyn Holloway had transformed from a tragic local mystery into a complex, multi-state manhunt. It raised unsettling questions about the effectiveness of law enforcement databases, the mobility of violent offenders, and the vulnerability of even the most seemingly secure communities. The once peaceful town of Evergreen, nestled in the Colorado Rockies, now stood at the center of a sprawling investigation that spanned the American West. As detectives raced against time to unravel this new lead, the memory of Evelyn Holloway, the devoted mother, passionate educator, and vibrant community member, continued to drive their relentless pursuit of justice. On September 22, 2023, more than 3 years after Evelyn Holloway's disappearance, a breakthrough in the case sent shockwaves through the nation. In a remote area of Ridgewood County, over 50 miles from the initial search zone, a grim discovery was made that would forever change the course of the investigation. Local hikers, venturing off the beaten path, stumbled upon human remains in a densely wooded area. The location, a secluded spot far from any trails or roads, immediately raised suspicions. Forensic teams were quickly dispatched to the scene, working tirelessly to process would soon be confirmed as the final resting place of Evelyn Holloway. The identification of Evelyn's remains brought a complex mix of emotions to those involved in the case. For the Holloway family, it marked the end of a torturous period of uncertainty, providing a tragic answer to the question that had haunted them for years. Yet, it also reignited the pain of their loss, forcing them to confront the finality of Evelyn's fate. For investigators, the discovery was both a breakthrough and a challenge. While it provided crucial physical evidence, the remote location and the time that had elapsed since Evelyn's disappearance complicated forensic analysis. Every inch of the area was meticulously examined, with investigators hoping to uncover any clues that might shed light on the circumstances of Evelyn's death or the identity of her killer. The location of the remains raised new questions about the case. Its distance from Evergreen seemed to support the theory of an outside perpetrator, aligning with the DNA evidence linking the case to out-of-state crimes. However, it also reignited suspicions about Caleb Holloway. How well did he know the area? Could he have been familiar with this remote location? As news of the discovery spread, the quiet town of Evergreen once again found itself at the center of a media storm. Residents grappled with the realization that the mystery that had gripped their community for years had taken such a dark turn. The forest trails that once represented peace and natural beauty now held a sinister undertone for many. The task force investigating Evelyn's case faced renewed pressure. With physical evidence finally in hand, they redoubled their efforts to analyze every aspect of the crime scene. Advanced forensic techniques were employed, from soil analysis to entomological studies, in hopes of pinpointing the time and circumstances of Evelyn's death. Meanwhile, the multi-state angle of the investigation continued to evolve. Detectives worked to establish a timeline of the suspected serial offender's movements, cross-referencing it with Evelyn's disappearance and the location where her remains were found. The vast distance between the crime scenes painted a picture of a highly mobile and evasive perpetrator. For Caleb Holloway, the discovery brought a new wave of scrutiny. While his legal team remained confident in his innocence, pointing to the DNA evidence that seemed to exonerate him, public opinion remained divided. The years of suspicion had taken their toll, and many still viewed him as a potential suspect. As the investigation entered this new phase, the memory of Evelyn Holloway, her life, her passions, and the impact she had on her community remained at the forefront. Vigils were held in Evergreen, celebrating her life and demanding justice for her death. The case had become more than a local tragedy. It was now a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities that exist even in the most idyllic settings. The discovery of Evelyn's remains, while providing some answers, had ultimately deepened the mystery surrounding her disappearance. As investigators continued their relentless pursuit of the truth, one question loomed larger than ever. Would justice for Evelyn Holloway finally be served, or would her case join the ranks of America's unsolved mysteries? As the investigation into Evelyn Holloway's disappearance and death enters its 4th year, the case continues to captivate the nation, leaving a trail of unanswered questions and unresolved theories. The discovery of Evelyn's remains, while providing closure to some aspects of the mystery, has opened new avenues of inquiry and reignited public interest in this tragic story. The multi-state task force, comprised of law enforcement agencies from Colorado, Illinois, and Arizona, continues its tireless pursuit of justice. The DNA evidence linking Evelyn's case to unsolved sexual assaults in other states remains a crucial, yet perplexing, element of the investigation. Despite advanced forensic techniques and extensive database searches, the identity of this potential serial offender remains elusive, highlighting the challenges faced by law enforcement in tracking highly mobile criminals across state lines. Caleb Holloway, once the prime suspect in his wife's disappearance, now exists in a state of legal limbo. While the DNA evidence seems to point away from his direct involvement, years of suspicion have irreparably damaged his reputation and relationships. His legal team maintains his innocence, but public opinion remains divided. The question of whether Caleb had any indirect role in Evelyn's fate continues to be a topic of heated debate in both legal circles and the court of public opinion. The Holloway daughters, Hazel and Ivy, find themselves caught in the crossfire of ongoing speculation and media attention. Their journey through grief, suspicion, and the search for truth has become a poignant subplot in this complex narrative. Their resilience in the face of unimaginable circumstances has drawn both sympathy and admiration from the public. The town of Evergreen, once known for its picturesque mountain views and tight-knit community, now bears the scars of this tragedy. The case has forced residents to confront the reality that even the most idyllic settings can harbor dark secrets. Community initiatives focused on personal safety and support for victims of domestic violence have emerged as a positive outcome of this painful chapter in the town's history. As the investigation continues, several key questions remain at the forefront. Will advancements in DNA technology eventually lead to the identification of the unknown suspect? How did Evelyn's body end up so far from the initial search area? And what does this reveal about her final moments? Are there other unsolved cases across the country that might be linked to this potential serial offender? What role, if any, did Caleb Holloway play in the events surrounding his wife's disappearance? Will the full truth of what happened on May 10, 2020, ever come to light? The case of Evelyn Holloway serves as a stark reminder of the complexities inherent in modern criminal investigations. It highlights the challenges posed by cross-jurisdictional crimes, the limitations of forensic evidence, and the enduring impact of unresolved cases on families and communities. As the search for answers continues, Evelyn's memory lives on, in the determined efforts of investigators, in the hearts of her loved ones, and in the collective consciousness of a nation captivated by her story. The pursuit of justice for Evelyn Holloway remains ongoing, a testament to the enduring human desire for truth and closure in the face of tragedy. The mystery of what truly happened to Evelyn Holloway on that fateful Mother's Day continues to haunt all those involved, serving as a somber reminder that some questions may never find complete answers, and some wounds may never fully heal.